Super late model competitor Stephen Nasse has provided an update on his Cars Tour and late model stock program with journalist Matt Weaver, who owns Short Track Scene. He spoke with Nasse at Hickory as they get ready for the ASA Stars National Tour race there later tonight. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. Before we get to what Nasse has to say, let's kind of recap. He did announce at the beginning of the season that he would be racing a full Cars Tour schedule. However, he has only appeared at one Cars Tour race, the opener at Southern National Motorsports Park, where he failed to qualify. Since then, he has not competed in any Cars Tour races at all this year. We can take a look over here kind of at his season point standings. This is from Cars Tour Digest. You can see 2024 season, only 2 points, 139 points behind, and he's got one DNF. It should be one DNS because he did not start. But that is what's happened with Stephen Nasse in the Cars Tour. Yeah, the one did not start, failed to qualify at Southern National Motorsports Park. And he went back and he's been competing in his pro late model and his super late model. And to a high degree of success, he's won a number of races already this year. But let's get into what exactly he had to say about why he's not competing in the Cars Tour race after saying he was. It has everything to do with he doesn't feel like he's competitive in his late model stock car. We have this information here from Matt Weaver. It says Nasse acquired a Forest Reynolds chassis last summer, made a handful of starts, and announced plans to contest the full Cars Tour season in 2024. And he was actually pretty competitive in a number of those starts. He was running in, I think he had a top 5 finish, was consistently running in the top 10, even when he wasn't racing in the Cars Tour. I think he made a start at Florence, if memory serves, and he was pretty competitive in that as well. And he was supposed to be with Chase Pistone, but Reynolds himself took over operations before the start of the season. They failed to make the season opener in March at Southern National. It sat dormant until last week when they took it to North Wilkesboro, working alongside Chad Bryant Racing, but those races were rained out, so Nasse doesn't know what the future holds as it pertains to his perimeter chassis car. I guess his late model stock car. So this is what he told Weaver. He says, we're just behind the 8 ball in it. I thought that working with Forrest was going to be really be good, and really I thought we'd hit it off, and we just kind of struggled a lot more than we expected. We got some help from Chad, but the car still isn't quite there. It needs more work. It's not about being able to drive them. People ask me all the time about the difference behind the wheel, and there's no difference. It's all set up. When you're working with those truck arms and everything, it's just a different animal. And those guys are so good. If you're off just a little bit, it makes you look that much worse, you know? And that's the part that stings the most. Weaver says his pride is that his late model stock starts make him look way less capable of driving one compared to the straight rail super and pro late models. And Nasse added, I don't want to go back and struggle. He did say this, we are going to comb through the car and I'm going to give it one more shot. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to cut my losses with it and maybe rent a car from a really good team. I like having our own, but I didn't think it was going to be this tough. But really, everyone you want to hire to work on these cars, they're really good, so they're already booked up, and I just need someone who has a lot of experience with these cars. It's just been a hard deal. We are fighting something right now that acts like it's bent somewhere. No matter what we've done to it, it's just tight. Nothing is responding the way it should. So I don't know when our next race will be, but we're starting to get our super program turned around, and I don't want to take away from that. Those cars are just so finicky, and like I said, when you're off just a little with those cars, they'll make you look like it's a lot. So that is why Stephen Nasse is not been competing in his late model stock program. He does not feel that the program is where it needs to be. It's not competitive with the likes of Chad Bryant Racing, with the likes of Junior Motorsports, with Lee Pulliam Performance, and even with Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Unable to compete with those top teams in the Cars Tour. And he's also saying that they seemingly have an experience issue. He's trying to get a top mechanic to work on it and just has not been able to do that, although he seemingly was working with chassis builder Forrest Reynolds on the car at Southern National, but was just unable to kind of figure out how to make it work. But that is your update on Stephen Nasse. Let me know what you make of what he has to say here. It's a shame that he's not competing in the Car Tour. I think he's a big draw. I really like watching him in the super late model and the pro late model stuff. I think he's one of the best drivers out there, especially in those super late miles, in those pro late miles. He's always a threat to win every time he suits up in one of those. And like I said, he is one of the top, I think, top talented drivers in asphalt short track racing in the country right now. And I think he proved that when he hopped in the late model stock car last year and was running in kind of top fives and was very competitive. So I hope that he's able to figure it out, or if he's unable to figure out, he is able to actually rent a car and get the experience, the mechanic that he needs to go out there and compete, because I think he definitely can. And I'd love to see him competing in the Cars Tour against the likes of future NASCAR Cup Series competitors, I think for sure, in people like Brendan Butterbean Queen. We saw what he did at North Wilkesboro in the truck race, finishing a top 4. We've seen what Carson Quaffle has done, 2-time defending Cars Tour champion, going out there, finishing in the top 5 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So these are some of the best guys out there, and I'd love to see Nasse competing with them in the Cars Tour, because I think he does bring a lot to it, and he's a strong personality as well when it comes to racing. His rivalry with Bubba Pollard is fantastic, and who wouldn't want to see Nasse build some rivalries with people like Brendan Butterbean Queen, with people like Carson Quaffle. But let me know what you guys make of what Stephen Nasse had to say here. Let me know in the comments below.